better snap up my shirt. My fellow Americans, if you're watching this live, I will try to respond to your comments. If you see this later, great. I'm honestly just hopping on here because I just finished one of the most grueling, uncomfortable, insane experiences that I have ever had as Lady Maga. So there's a documentary crew who came in from New York, and they're doing a documentary about politics. I can't say who they are. Hello, Bridget. I can't say who they are, but they came with a production truck and took hours to set up my apartment. Hola, Ignacio, ¿cómo estás? And I just spent like one of the most grueling days of my life on camera in my face. I showed them my apartment. I told them a lot about, why I'm a drag queen, drag artist, why I do what I do. And then we sat down with, camera in my face, lighting my apartment. Like, they had a huge production crew. So the whole apartment was like covered in like weird lights and angles and tape on the floor and everything. So I've never had that experience, and it was very frightening. And I'm hoarse because I've been talking so much, but they asked me a lot of questions about race, and hello, Catherine, I love you too. They asked me a lot of questions about race and Afghanistan, and the good news is I do my homework. So every time they threw me a question, I responded with factual, realistic information. The only problem is I know their documentary is going to be good because I've seen their other work, and they are definitely not just like simple journalists. They are in-depth, Emmy Award-winning journalists. So I know that they have the... Hello, Camille Guerrero. I'm sorry you're in California, but hopefully Larry Elder is going to win. So, Suzanne, thank you. Yeah, I wore my cowboy hat because I love the Wild West. I love my pioneer ancestry, and I just felt like I should, dress up how I feel cute. So anyway, they asked me so many questions, like in my face. So you're in your chair, tape on the floor, and they ask you the question, and I really felt like I was on trial because their questions were, we talked after, but their questions were like straight up leftist, giving the leftist viewpoint, leftist statistics, and I don't think the journalist was deliberately trying to be biased. I think he was testing me to see if what I say actually made sense when I was confronted with the leftist views. And a good journalist is going to challenge you. A good journalist is going to make you uncomfortable. A good journalist is going to, put you on the spot. So it was grueling. I am exhausted. So I'm not going to say who they are, and I can't, but this is my first experience having like a camera in my face, and they were with me all day, and they want to present my political point of view in their documentary. The only fear I have is, of course, we talked for hours, like hours. So, I showed them my apartment, I talked about my mom, I talked about Disney and all the things that encompass who I am as a drag artist. And then we sat down, and like they got here in the early afternoon. They didn't leave till 7:30. So they have hours of footage of me expressing, our views, and expressing the conservative side of things, and expressing why I'm a conservative. And of course, when this documentary comes out, if they paint me as some sort of radical right-wing racist, then it is simply because they chose to edit me that way. But anyway, so today they were filming me as me. Ryan, Mormon. Hi, Ryan from California. Looking forward to seeing the documentary. Thank you. Celeste, I love you. I told them all about Kanab, Utah. So today they filmed me as myself and tried to, paint a picture of who I am. But when the cameras are on, and it all depends on the questions. If the questions are, do you believe that Afghanistan refugees should not be sent to the United States? Like, the way you answer that, of course I answered it factually with reality. Like, Sweden is the rape capital of Europe for a reason. We'll see how they portray me. It was a huge risk to allow people to come into my life on this level, and I don't like it. And recently a Salt Lake Tribune, fake Tribune, art journalist said that I'm in this for the fame and the money. And I'm like, first of all, what fame? The more attention I get as Lady Maga, the more difficult things become. I don't want fame and I don't want money. I want influence. I want my voice to reach as many people as possible, especially gay conservatives who think they have to be leftists, who think they can only be Democrats. No, you have to join this side. So a lot of people say, oh, you're a grifter, you just want fame, you just want money. Honey, no. It's a weird thing, because I am very well known. When I go to a conservative event or whatever, people know Lady Maga, they follow Lady Maga, they give me a big hug, they know who I am. But there's no gratification in that. The only, meaning in what I do comes from knowing they heard my message. And I had my fun as a drag queen. I got to be Rapunzel, I got to be Britney Spears. It was an amazing adventure. But now I use drag as a tool for activism, and being a political activist is not the same as being a performer who gets all the attention and gets to airbrush all your photos. If I was just a regular drag queen, I would never open up on this level and expose myself, because everything should be airbrushed and I'm just, Rihanna Woods, or I'm just Lady Maga. So today was a big step for me to allow these people to come into my home and interview me. So today was Ryan. Tomorrow they're coming over and they are interviewing me as I get ready as Lady Maga USA. And here is the underpiece. So I have 2 wigs and then a topper, and then this goes underneath the other wigs to add volume to the front. The only problem is this is too straight, and y'all know I don't like anything too straight. So I get to stay up late tonight and put these curlers into this hairpiece, roll it up, dip it in boiling water, and then immediately dip it into ice water so that the curl sets. So Vicky Ellis, hello darling, she said, God bless you, Ryan. Keep up the strong work. You're in my prayers. And please start a GoFundMe. We'll support you so you can continue your work. Well, I have gone into major debt to be Lady Maga USA. I have, I've spent a lot of my own money, and it's time for me to be more professional and try to monetize what I do, because the reality is you can only spend so much time editing videos, going to events, all that for free. So I am working on that. I actually did find a lady who's going to be my assistant, and finally I will have the ability to, create an email list and just take the next step to being a professional influencer. And not just a lone star out here, fighting by myself. So I did find somebody who's going to help me. And that is a great miracle. I love her. She's beautiful. She's a redhead. She's like Ariel. Like, I could not have asked for a better assistant. to go forward and help me with, newsletters and monetization and learning how to do locals and all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, because we all know my time on Facebook is limited. So Pamela, do you have a support system? Someone who can be there for you while these people are digging in your life? Yes. I have many friends and many beautiful people in my life who support me. That being said, I have lost my primary support system. I have very few family members who are willing to associate with me anymore. I'm a grandma killer. I'm an internalized homophobe. So I've lost my traditional support network that has been there since I was a teenager. But I still have a few family members who have stuck by my side and are there for me. And I have my Patriot community. So, yeah. But on a day like today, no, I was by myself with a camera in my face, answering very difficult questions. I mean, if somebody asks you about, do you believe black and brown people have the same opportunities as white people in this world, throwing all these laws and statistics in my face and expecting me to give an articulate response, which I did, because I am not a political dummy. I do my homework. But it was it was grueling and it was rough. Maylee, thank you, honey. Yes, I do have a family in Colorado. I was there for the log cabin event, and I spoke and I performed, and it was absolutely amazing. So I do know that I have an incredible community, and one of my goals now that I have an assistant is to really connect with that community outside of Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, because we all know our time is limited on these communist platforms. They claim to be platforms, but they are publishers, and they have control over free speech. So that's why emails and my website and all that. And by the way, if you want to stay in touch with me, email admin, ADMIN, at ladymagausa.com, admin at ladymagausa.com, subject, add me. That's all you need. And that way, when they kick me off of mainstream communist platforms, we'll be able to stay in touch. Unless they deplatform people from email and, all the other things they're doing. So Pamela said, you are a beautiful human, happy you have support. And I do. And Celeste, yep, absolutely, they are publishers. Yes, they claim to be a platform. So for anybody who doesn't understand this, they're like, Twitter is a private organization. YouTube is private. Facebook is private. Yes, but they are deceitful, because a platform is a service, like a cell service, like Verizon or Sprint or, T-Mobile, and they provide the service of the cell phone. And they don't control what you say to your friends and family, although they are recording it, and those recordings will be released sooner than you realize. But anyway, you get the idea. So we provide you a service like Facebook to communicate, say what you want, and we do not interfere. All we do is provide that service, and that's what they say. But they are editors, and I have to censor myself even right now. I can't talk about certain things, or Facebook will deplatform me. So they are, Celeste, they get huge special perks by pretending to be a platform. Exactly. And that was one of the things that the journalist grilled me on today. He's like, do you believe, in private rights of Twitter and YouTube and Facebook to, or do they have to be broken up? And I'm like, well, we broke up AT&T for a reason. And until free speech is available outside of the platforms of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, then they are controlling the free speech of Americans. And if they just come out and say we are platforms and we are not liable for whatever anybody says on our platform, it's a free speech platform, then they're hypocrites and they're liars. And until our Republican leaders, by the way, it is the Republicans who are not fighting for this. I don't blame the Democrats. I don't blame the communists. I blame the Republicans who have not legitimately come forward and made sure that free speech is protected in America. When was the last time you saw a mainstream rhino Republican complain that President Trump was kicked off of Twitter? Yeah, exactly. They don't. The Taliban is on Twitter because, you know, the Taliban has a legitimate place now in the United Nations, and we should negotiate with them, even though they're killing gay people like me and stoning women and torturing children. And since I said that on this live, I bet, you know, my video will be labeled as hateful speech. But you know what I'm saying. Mainstream rhino Republicans like Mitt Romney and our governor, Spencer Cox, here in Utah, they are not fighting for us. That is why we must educate ourselves and create patriot communities so that we can change the landscape and find leaders who actually represent us. But I will say this, and this is not optimistic, we will get nowhere, and there is no point to anything we do unless our elections are transparent, unless our elections are indisputable, unless we have voter ID, and we know that when we cast a vote, our vote was counted, and false votes were not counted. But the mainstream rhino Republicans are doing nothing. They're talking about the Americans left behind in Afghanistan, and they are perfectly willing to talk about things that are, you know, mainstream conservative views. But what are they doing about election integrity? Did they say anything when President Trump was kicked off? I don't think so. So just remember that when we talk about the swamp, we're not talking about the Democrats. We're talking about the rhinos and the Mitch McConnells and the, Mitt Romneys, who are all part of the big swamp system. So don't trust any Republicans. So let's see, Pam. Hello, darling. The question about people of color having the same opportunities as everyone else, the answer is no. They have more opportunities because of affirmative action. I'm happy to tell you about the horrible consequences. Yeah, well, that's basically what I said. In today's world, companies are setting aside qualifications in order to meet diversity quotas. Like airlines are hiring pilots of color for political reasons, when the reality is a pilot should only be hired according to his qualifications. And when they ask me the question about, racism, and do you believe that businesses discriminate on the basis of color? And I said, okay, let's think about this for a minute. Anyone who owns a business has one objective, and that is to make money and beat their competitors. If a black person is the best candidate for the job with the best qualifications and the best ability to make money for that company, no company is going to refuse them based on skin color. But in today's world, they will ignore qualifications so that they can meet their diversity quota so that the leftist mob will not come after them. Another thing I discussed was, ladies and gentlemen, black people are 13% of the population. So if you have a business, let's say, like a fashion line, and you have a bunch of applicants, question number one, if black people are 13% of the population, we have to ask ourselves, what percent of that population is interested in fashion design? Duh. That obviously cuts the amount of black people who are interested in that job by a major margin. So if you only hire white people, knowing that black people are 13% of the population, and only a tiny fraction of that population is interested in fashion design, are you racist because you hired mostly white people? Because mostly white people applied for the job? and you needed to hire the most qualified, seamstress and everybody else for fashion, it's not about race, it's about qualifications. And my favorite photo that I ever took was with a beautiful black conservative in Texas and a Latino gay conservative. And we took a picture, and the picture said, character over color and qualifications over orientation. So y'all, when this documentary comes out, of course, I'll share it, and hopefully they will portray me correctly. But we talked for 4.5 hours, and of course in the documentary I'll probably have maybe 5 minutes max to present my case. So it's up to them how they portray it. But I took the risk, and I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. But anyway, I got to get to work on this ridiculous hair extension and roll up the curlers and get a bite to eat because I am exhausted. So anyway, I love you guys, and if you agree with what I said, please share this video. Celeste, we love you. We understand if you need to get some rest so you can be fabulous again tomorrow. Yeah, I have to get up, fix my costume, lay everything out, and they show up with the camera at 2 p.m. and I'll have a camera in my face from the time I start getting ready until after our event tomorrow. So I'm going to be exhausted, but for some reason I always find it super comforting to come on Facebook Live, because I feel like Twitter is toxic and the haters just love to come out and insult me. But here on Facebook, I really feel like we have a wonderful community. And by the way, once again, if you want to stay in touch with me, add me. That's your subject. Admin at ladymagausa.com. Subject, add me. And that way, if ever I'm kicked off of communist Facebook, we can stay in touch. So once again, admin at ladymagausa. Subject, add me. I recently had a conversation with a radio host in Seattle, a conservative lesbian radio host, and she said, don't worry about being deplatformed off of the major sites like Twitter or Instagram, because God will make sure that the people who need your message and the people who need to find you will find you. So that's my prayer. That's my hope. So anyway, you guys, I love you so much. I'm going to eat pizza and go to sleep and wake up early and get fierce. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you soon.